Welcome to Talk Bowling, brought to you by bowlingballcom. I'm Tony Rucco, and let's get into some of your questions. Today we're going to discuss a few questions we received over the last week or so from Facebook. The first one comes from Benjamin S., and he asks, how do I keep my bowling balls from cracking while I'm at home? So we know that this is an issue for a lot of people. We've heard about this time and time again. A lot of times this comes from changes in temperature. So the materials in your bowling ball expand at different rates. So when a ball gets really cold and then you bring it inside and maybe it starts to warm up, the inner core and the cover stock will expand at different rates, and it causes the ball to eventually pop, and you see those cracks that are fairly thick. Usually you can get a business card into them, or sometimes they're even wider than that. The best solution to this is try and keep your balls stored in a place where there's a steady temperature. Don't leave them in the garage where it may get really cold or really hot and then decide to move them into the house where it's at a more steady temperature. Keep them inside if you can. It happens to some people, it doesn't happen to others. It's not brand specific. This has nothing to do with a Storm ball cracks more than a Brunswick ball or vice versa. This is simply because of the materials used in the ball. So the best way to combat this is to keep them stored at a consistent temperature. A lot of people you'll see will have them inside their house on a rack. You can keep them in your bowling bag. That storage isn't going to change the temperature. I would say the biggest issue comes from taking them to the bowling center, which isn't an issue for us right now, but take them to the bowling center and then leave them in your car for a couple of days, and then you get them out of your car and you put them in the garage. And then a couple days after that, you decide to bring them from the garage into your extra room in the house. Throughout all those different stages, the temperature is changing, so that can cause the ball to crack. So best advice I can give is keep them somewhere where it's a consistent temperature. Right now, since most of us aren't bowling, I would bring them in the house. I know it's still cold in some parts of the U.S. We're not having that issue here in Florida right now. It's extremely hot. So keep them inside. If you're in a warmer climate like Florida, keep them in the house. The air conditioning will keep it pretty, steady and consistent. That's not a foolproof plan. I have bowling balls that will be sitting outside my office here, where we keep the AC running pretty much all the time, and they'll still crack. But it will lower your chances if you're not changing the temperature of where they're stored consistently. So, good question. If you have more, let us know. Next question is from Jerry L. Why do they show a scale of 0 to 10 hook potential on TV, but your bowling balls are not rated that way? So this is a really, really good question, Jerry. So every bowling ball manufacturer uses a different scale to rate the hook potential of their balls. Some of them don't even use a scale, so to speak. They classify the ball in a shape or a motion that the ball usually is meant for, and then they'll rate it inside of that, which makes it even trickier. Most of the brands, if you visit their websites, though, they will show you some type of generalized scale. Whether it's a chart, I just saw a really cool one from Radical, and they had a chart, and they had the balls laid out in different places on the chart, which showed lane condition and how much the ball will hook. Some places use just a straight hook scale, and they'll give you a number from 0 to 10 or 0 to 100. On bowlingball.com, years ago, what we saw coming was as balls were evolving and more bowling balls were getting released, there was no clean way to compare ball from manufacturer A and ball from manufacturer B. So what we did is we created something called the perfect scale. We have articles and pages on our website that you can visit, and it'll detail what we do. But what we try and do is with each ball release, we try and apply it to a scale of our own, which is 0 to 300. Over time, bowling balls have become much stronger, so you're starting to see bowling balls get much closer to that top end of our scale. But all we try and do is generalize the ball and give you a way to compare balls from different manufacturers and see the hook potential of those balls on one solid scale. So when you look at bowlingball.com, we're going to assign a perfect scale rating. We have a formula with information we get from each manufacturer. We plug it in, and it spits out a number. And then there are some cases where we'll look at it and say, well, no, we threw this ball, and although all the numbers are telling us this is where it really falls compared to maybe the last release from that manufacturer. Or if we throw two balls from different manufacturers on the same day, we may say, well, this ball has a higher hook potential based on all the numbers, but what we saw in a typical house shot is this. And so we will adjust it a little bit. Sometimes we even get feedback from the manufacturers themselves, like, listen, this ball is very unique, and that happens every once in a while. Sometimes a ball will come out, it's a mid-performance ball, maybe the perfect scale number on it should be 180, but it's one of those really special bowling balls that just reacts better. And so we'll take some outside factors into it, but we really take RG, diff, we take the cover stock, and we look at these factors and we come up with a generalized number 0 to 300. Now on PBA telecasts, they have a much tougher job because they're taking balls from all these manufacturers. If you've got 5 different guys on the show, it's very easy for those 5 guys to be throwing 5 different brands. So what they've done is they've tried to take it and generalize it even more, and that's why they use a 0 to 10 scale, because it's just easy to do. So if someone's throwing a super aggressive, dull cover stock ball, they may show it as an 8 or a 9. And then maybe you've got Jesper or Belmo on there, and they're throwing urethane. And so they're trying to give you a scale of where these balls fall for the average consumer or the average bowler. Keep in mind, when you're watching telecast, these guys are bowling on some of the toughest conditions in the world. They're the best bowlers, and they can manipulate bowling balls to do things that the average bowler can't do. But the PBA has tried to generalize that for us and give us this easy scale of 0 to 10. So it's a tricky thing to do. It's a tricky part of the game to navigate when you're looking at new balls. On bowlingball.com, we've just tried to make it as easy as possible. So we try and bring all manufacturers into one scale, and we do our best. It's not a foolproof plan, but it's really close. You're never going to see a ball rated as 250, let's say, which is a really high number on the perfect scale. You're not going to get that ball and it's going to go dead straight. Granted, lane conditions, your ball release, things have other factors that we can't plan for when we're giving those numbers, but it's going to be really close. And when you're comparing similar bowling balls from different brands, you're going to see those perfect scale numbers are really close, usually within points. I would say within 10 points of each other. And because the scale is so broad, that's not a big percentage of the scale. So if you have 4 bowling balls and you compare on bowlingball.com and you see the perfect scales are within 5 to 10 points of each other, those balls are all really similar. The PBA just tries to do what they can to show bowlers what the bowlers are using, and I love that feature. I think it's awesome. I think it's thrown off a little bit in today's game because urethane has made such a play. If you've watched any other Talk Bowling episodes, you know my feelings on urethane, but it's part of our game, and it's important for the bowlers watching to understand that just because this guy's throwing urethane and it's a 2 on their scale, on the right conditions, in the right person's hand, you're going to make that ball work very well. So that's a great question. If you have any other questions about hook potentials of specific bowling balls, you can, of course, let us know. We can discuss it. There's not a whole lot of new ball releases for us to go through right now where I can give you examples. Obviously, a lot of major manufacturers are not producing bowling balls. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, there's just been a little bit of a stop in production right now. So in future episodes, though, we can pull out some new releases and go through the perfect scales. I won't be able to correlate what the PBA gives them on a 0 to 10, but that's basically it. Some manufacturers, if you go to their website, they don't even give it a hook potential. They don't give it a number. They just show you ball videos because hook potential can be a little deceiving because you have so many other factors that come into play. The style, the lane conditions. Storm does a great job on their website of showing different styles throwing the same ball on the same pattern. So if you're a stroker type of ball release, you can watch that ball go down the lane from someone who throws it similar to you. I love that they do that. If you watch any of our ball release videos, our ball reaction videos on new releases, we do just about every major manufacturer out there, and we have a wide variety of bowlers as well. We have Curly, who's an older, more of a stroker type of release. We have Mike, who is more of that middle of the road. He's a little bit more than a stroker, but he's not quite revving the ball up where he's inside on the patterns. We have a two-handed bowler. Obviously, that's become a big thing right now, and Kevin throws the ball fantastic. And then you have me, who I don't know where I fall, but I don't want any funny comments from any of my buddies out there. I'll call myself a tweener. So we try and give you a visual of a lot of different styles as well. We do flip the camera angles and show you from the left side as well. Same type of thing, just from the other side of the lane. So great question though, Jerry. Remember to check out bowlingball.com for all your bowling needs. We are open and ready to serve you. Any orders placed right now before 2 p.m. Eastern Time will ship the same day. We're running a normal operation here, so we've been fortunate enough that we are able to stay open. Luckily, our community of bowlers and our customers are loyal, and they're keeping us going right now. So if you need anything, let us know. If you have any questions, make sure you shoot us a comment on Facebook or any of our social media venues. You can send us an email to questions@talkbowling.com, or you can comment on this video and we'll get your questions answered on a future episode. We're going to try and shoot a special series of these, much shorter, just a couple questions here and there as we navigate through the next coming weeks with the whole coronavirus issue going on in the U.S. So keep the questions coming. We'll keep giving you content and trying to answer your questions as best we can. If there's anything else you need, make sure you let us know. And remember, bowlingball.com, it's where bowlers go.